Some men attract women without effort. Others chase endlessly and still lose them. The paradox? The more you try to win her over, the faster she pulls away. But this isn't about charm, money, or perfect words. It's about presence. It's about the mindset of a man who doesn't need to prove anything, because he already knows his worth. The Stoic doesn't chase what's out of his control, and that's exactly why women remember him, long after the noise fades. Most men live in pursuit of attention, pursuit of approval, pursuit of someone else's validation. But a Stoic man, he lives in alignment. He doesn't run after what runs from him. He holds his position, rooted in values, not reactions. You've probably felt the frustration. You give more, text more, wait longer, and yet she seems less and less interested. You wonder what you're doing wrong. But the truth is, attraction doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to direction, to the way a man carries himself when no one's watching, to the way he holds silence with dignity, not fear. This video isn't about tactics, it's about transformation. We're going to explore 5 Stoic principles, not tricks, that shift your focus from chasing her to building you. These principles don't just change how women see you, they change how you see yourself. No more confusion, no more waiting for her to choose you. You're not here to be picked, you're here to stand. If you're ready to stop asking, "How do I make her like me?" and start asking, "What kind of man am I becoming?" then welcome. This is the Stoic Spirit. Let's begin. Rule 1. The Stoic man does not chase. There's something quietly powerful about the man who doesn't chase. Not because he's indifferent, but because he's anchored. Anchored in purpose. Anchored in peace. Anchored in the understanding that real love cannot be earned through pursuit. Most men are taught that if you want to win a woman, you must chase. Text more, compliment more, be endlessly available and always eager. But that kind of man is not acting from strength. He's acting from fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of being alone. Fear that without her, he has no worth. The Stoic man lives by a different code. He doesn't seek control over her responses. He seeks control over his own. He knows that the moment he begins to chase, he's no longer leading his life. He's reacting to hers. Now imagine 2 men, both interested in the same woman. The first is always there, quick to respond, quick to flatter, quick to adjust himself around her whims. His presence becomes predictable. His attention becomes cheap. The second? He's present when it matters. He listens. He engages. But when the moment ends, he returns to his world. His mission, his movement, his momentum. He's not playing hard to get. He just already has something worth getting. Which man stirs her curiosity? Which man draws her in? It's not manipulation. It's magnetism born from meaning. Because here's what most men don't realize. You can't chase a woman into respecting you, and you can't earn desire through over-availability. Humans value what they must reach for, what they must rise to meet, and a man who stands still with dignity. is worth more than one who runs after breadcrumbs. The Stoic man protects his peace like a warrior. He doesn't give away time like it's worthless. He doesn't send message after message, hoping to spark something, because his spark comes from within. When he does speak, it's intentional. When he reaches out, it's from a place of strength, not scarcity. He isn't waiting by the phone. He's living, not to provoke jealousy, not to appear mysterious, but because his life is already full. And ironically, that fullness is what makes her pause. She begins to wonder, what's he doing? Why doesn't he try harder? Why do I want to hear from him more? That's not a game. That's gravity. When you stop chasing, you stop trying to force the story. You let it unfold, naturally, honestly. And in that stillness, you become something rare. A man who is more focused on who he's becoming than on who he's trying to impress. The Stoic doesn't punish her with silence. He simply honors the silence with presence. He doesn't withdraw out of spite. He withdraws to protect what's sacred, his mission, his energy, his time. If she reaches out, he responds with calm clarity. And if she doesn't, he doesn't crumble, because his worth was never dependent on her reply. When you stop chasing, you allow room for truth, for effort to be mutual, for attention to mean something. And maybe, just maybe, she'll step toward you. Not because you begged, but because she saw what kind of man doesn't need to beg. Let her come to you, not as a reward, but as a reflection of the life you've built without her. And if she doesn't, you haven't lost. You've preserved something far more valuable than her validation, your dignity. Rule 2. Keep mystery. A Stoic man is never in a rush to be understood. He doesn't walk into a room trying to explain himself. He doesn't unravel his life story to impress. He knows that the things worth discovering are discovered slowly. In today's world, most men overshare far too quickly. They believe that openness equals trust, that pouring out every detail will create connection. But it often does the opposite. It removes the tension, the spark, the curiosity. On a first date, some men unload everything. They talk about childhood, past relationships, career goals, and emotional baggage, all before the appetizers even arrive. And by the end of the meal, there's nothing left to wonder about. But the Stoic man, he doesn't empty his story in one sitting. He offers a glimpse, a single thread of thought, a memory that invites more questions than answers. Not because he's hiding, but because he knows value isn't dumped out. It's earned. Imagine two men. One tells every detail of his life, hoping to impress. The other shares one truth, then listens deeply. He speaks with intention, pauses with meaning. He lets the silence breathe. She leaves the date, still thinking about him. Not because of how much he said, but because of how much he didn't have to. You see, mystery isn't about manipulation. It's about energy. It's about not needing to be validated through exposure. A man who knows himself doesn't rush to be seen. He lets people earn the right to see him. We live in a time of constant exposure. Stories, posts, messages, replies. The world demands that we reveal everything, and immediately. But you stand out when you resist that urge, when you move through life like a book with sealed pages, inviting but not available to just anyone. A Stoic man doesn't fear being misunderstood. He's too focused on living with depth to worry about being fully known too soon. When a woman asks about your life, don't turn the moment into a biography. Share something real. Then let the rest remain unspoken. For now, let her walk away still wondering. Let her imagination do the work. Because the unknown, when carried with composure, is magnetic. And here's the beauty of it. When you reveal yourself piece by piece, you create anticipation. You allow her to experience your world in chapters, each one more meaningful than the last. A good story doesn't begin with a spoiler. It unfolds. It deepens. It invites the reader to lean in, not walk away. You don't need to be mysterious. You just need to be deliberate. Let her earn your truths, not to play games, but to reflect your inner value. Say less, mean more. Be present without performance. Let your silence say what words cannot. And when she doesn't know everything, she'll keep coming back. Not to chase answers, but to be in your presence. That presence, grounded, focused, and unapologetically calm, is rare. Don't be the man who floods her with facts. Be the man who leaves echoes in her mind. The one who isn't an open book, but a novel worth reading. Slowly, intentionally, fully. Because the man who holds mystery is not a man hiding something. He is simply a man who doesn't give himself away for free. Rule 3. Master your emotions. There's a storm inside every man, but not every man lets it show. Most men are ruled by their emotions without even realizing it. They fall into the trap of reacting to everything. Her silence, her mood, her delay, her tests, and every reaction becomes a confession. I don't know how to control myself. Nothing kills attraction faster than emotional volatility, neediness, jealousy, outbursts. They don't just show that you're sensitive, they reveal that you're unstable. And no woman wants to feel like she has to manage your emotional weather. You've seen it before. A man sends 10 messages in a row. He explodes when plans change. He apologizes the next morning with a wall of texts, begging to undo what was done in a moment of weakness. But the Stoic man, he pauses. He breathes. He observes. Because the Stoic knows every emotion is just information. It's not a command. She pulls away. He notices, but he doesn't chase. She teases him. He smiles, not because he's immune, but because he's mastered response over reaction. Women will test you, sometimes consciously, sometimes not. They want to feel the depth of your presence, to see if your strength is rooted or surface level. The man who panics, he reveals his insecurity. The man who sulks or lashes out, he trades attraction for emotional chaos. But the man who stays grounded, he speaks little, but with weight. He adapts when plans shift. He uses free time to build himself, not to spiral. True emotional control means you don't rush into infatuation either. You may like her deeply, but you let it simmer. You stay centered. You don't lose yourself in her attention. You have your own path, your own rituals, your own rhythm. And if you notice yourself obsessing after just 2 dates, you pull back. You breathe. You return to the gym, to your books, to your mission. Because chasing validation only shows that you've forgotten your value. So what does emotional mastery look like in practice? It's the pause before you speak. It's choosing not to reply in anger. It's knowing when to walk away and when to stand still. You don't vent your anxiety onto her. You handle it. You don't guilt her for her distance. You respect it. And over time, she begins to notice, not just that you're calm, but that your calm makes her feel safe, that your presence doesn't provoke panic. It invites peace. That's rare, and it's irresistible, because in a world full of noise, you are quiet, strength. In a culture of instant reactions, you are measured response, and that's what makes you unforgettable. She doesn't want a man who drowns in emotion. She wants a man who can swim in it and still reach the shore. So the next time you feel that fire rise, don't put it out. Control the flame, shape it. Let it warm your soul, not scorch your life. That's the difference. That's power. A man who masters his emotions, masters his future, and a woman can trust a man who doesn't collapse under pressure. He doesn't beg. He doesn't explode. He doesn't shrink. He remains still while everything else moves. Rule 4. Set boundaries. Command respect. Every man must draw a line. Not a line drawn in anger, but a line etched with quiet strength. A boundary that says, this is who I am. This is how I will be treated. You see, being kind is good. Being generous is noble. But if you have no boundaries, your kindness will be seen as weakness, and your generosity will be drained until nothing is left. Too many men confuse patience with passivity. They let disrespect slide. They accept silence without answers. They make excuses for the woman who cancels last minute, flirts with other men, or dismisses his words as jokes. And all the while, he believes, if I just love her more, she'll stop. But she doesn't. She only loses respect. Because in her eyes, you've told her the truth, that your self-respect is negotiable, that you'll bend until you break, that your love for her matters more than your love for yourself. Stoicism teaches us something else, that a man must know his inner fortress, and no matter how beautiful the visitor, she cannot be allowed to walk in with muddy boots. A boundary isn't a wall, it's a door, and only those who knock with respect should be let in. You've seen it before. The man who lets everything slide, he gets stood up, gets laughed at in public, gets belittled by the woman he adores. And what does he do? He smiles. He says, it's okay. He thinks tolerance is strength, but she sees it as surrender. Over time, her attraction fades, not because he wasn't good to her, but because he wasn't good to himself. Now, imagine a different man, one who speaks with calm precision, who doesn't raise his voice, but who doesn't lower his standards either. When something feels off, he speaks. When a line is crossed, he addresses it, not with rage, but with certainty. He's not afraid of her reaction. He's not afraid to walk away if he must, because he values his soul more than her approval. That kind of man earns respect. Even if she doesn't always agree, she feels safe in his presence, because deep down, she knows. This is a man who won't betray himself just to be loved. Boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about protecting your peace. If she constantly mocks you, even as a joke, you don't laugh along. You speak calmly. You let her know that even love doesn't excuse cruelty. If she flirts with others in your presence, you don't act possessive. You simply make it clear that you don't tolerate disrespect. And if she keeps doing it, you don't fight for her attention. You withdraw your presence. Why? Because a man who truly values himself will never negotiate with disrespect. The hardest part? Enforcing the boundary. Not just saying, "This bothers me," but being ready to leave if it continues. Most men fail here. They talk about standards, but when tested, they fold. They become slaves to desire and lose their dignity in the process. But the Stoic man knows desire must never override virtue. You may want her, but not at the cost of your peace, not at the cost of your worth. Women, consciously or not, will test you. She'll show up late. She'll ask for too much. She'll see what she can get away with, and your response becomes your declaration. It tells her, "This is a man I can trust," or "This is a man I can toy with." She doesn't want to toy with you. She wants to feel your strength. She wants to know that if she gets out of line, you'll be the man who stays still or walks away. If you want to be respected by others, the greatest thing is to respect yourself. Epictetus. In love, this doesn't mean cruelty. It means commanding respect. She should never fear your wrath, but she should fear losing you, because you live with purpose. Set boundaries early. Keep them always. They are the guardians of your dignity. In the end, you'll either have a woman who respects you, or you'll walk away with your soul intact. And either is a victory. Rule 5. Remain sovereign. Put purpose first. A man without purpose is like a ship without a compass. He may sail calm seas, but he will be lost in every storm. In the final lesson, we return to the foundation. A man must never give up his path for anyone, not for a woman, not for approval, not for love that demands his surrender. A sovereign man lives by inner command. His life is not built on whims or validation. He follows a code, his own North Star. In relationships, this means you don't orbit around her. You don't cancel your plans just to prove affection. You don't drop your goals for attention. You live rooted in something deeper, your mission. Women admire this more than they admit. A man with a clear direction radiates strength. He becomes a mountain in a world of men swept by emotional tides. But many men stumble here. They meet a woman they like and start rearranging their life around her. They skip workouts. They delay projects. They stop building. At first, She might be flattered, but soon she starts to feel something else. Pressure, burden, imbalance. No woman wants to be a man's entire purpose. That kind of dependence turns admiration into suffocation. Stoicism teaches us, don't tie your happiness to things outside your control. Epictetus, if she is the source of your identity, you've already lost yourself. Remaining sovereign means you don't disappear into someone else's world. You invite her into yours. You continue to paint, to write, to build your business, to train your body, to sharpen your mind. And you do it without apology. You may love her deeply. You may want to share your victories with her, but you never ask permission to pursue your calling. She can walk beside you, but she is not the map. You already have one. When a woman sees this, she breathes easier. She respects you more. Because she knows your time with her isn't about filling a void. It's about choosing presence. You're not there because you're lost. You're there because you're whole. And when you're apart, you don't crumble. You stay steady. You stay productive. You stay true. If she doesn't text for a day, you don't panic. You focus. You live. If the relationship ends, you may feel pain, but it doesn't break you, because your life wasn't built around her. It was built on something eternal: discipline, virtue, vision. This independence doesn't repel love, it deepens it. She sees that your world is already full, and that being with you is not a rescue mission. It's a privilege. You are not her shadow. You are her equal. This is what makes you magnetic. You're not chasing approval. You're embodying purpose. And purpose is irresistible. Most men think they must choose love or ambition. But a sovereign man knows love thrives within the structure of a mission. A woman can love you deeply, but only if you remain deeply aligned with yourself. Build your life as if she may never come. And when she does, don't stop building. She'll appreciate you more for it, because now you're not asking her to complete you. You're asking her to walk beside you. You're not clinging. You're inviting. That's the difference between needing love and being worthy of it. A sovereign man is not cold or closed off. He is grounded, centered, balanced. And from that balance, he leads, not just himself, but the relationship. So remain sovereign. Stay committed to your goals. Honor your morning rituals. Keep your word to yourself. She will notice, and she will respect it. And if she doesn't, you'll still stand tall, because no love is worth losing your crown. Don't give up your throne for a smile that fades, or a hand that pulls you off your path. Be the man who walks his mission, with or without applause. That is the Stoic spirit, and it's what makes you unforgettable. At the core of everything we've explored, the attraction, the mystery, the discipline, the boundaries, lies one unshakable truth. A man who knows his worth never begs to be seen. He becomes magnetic, not because he tries harder, but because he lives deeper. He walks with presence, speaks with purpose, and acts with intention. He stops chasing because he knows. The moment you chase, you place her above your own value. He keeps mystery, not to confuse, but because depth isn't something you throw on the table in one sitting. He masters emotion, not to be cold, but to be calm in a world that thrives on chaos. He sets boundaries, not to dominate, but to protect what is sacred within himself. And above all, he remains sovereign. He does not abandon his path for temporary affection. He does not forget who he is for someone who has yet to earn his heart. He honors his mission first, because from that mission, everything flows. Strength, peace, purpose, and the kind of love that is drawn to you, not demanded from you. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich. But you do have to be rooted. Rooted in who you are. Rooted in your principles. Rooted in something greater than just being liked. Women may come, some may go, but your foundation remains. Your peace remains. And that, brother, is what makes you unforgettable. So don't waste your life trying to be chosen. Become the man who chooses himself. And if this message stirred something in you, pass it on. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Comment below. I choose strength over validation. Because when you support this movement, you're not just helping this channel grow, you're helping another man wake up. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.